Hi everyone, I wanted to come here to share something that I watched on Netflix called Apple Cider Vinegar. It's a series slash documentary on the life of this girl called Belle Gibson, an Australian girl who I didn't know about. I heard her name and the series from Ella Mills on her podcast. I listen to her podcast often. She's a friend of mine, so I really like seeing what she's up to, and she's doing amazing work. And she mentioned this series. So I asked my mother for the password of her Netflix, actually, because I don't have Netflix, and she gave it to me. And I watched it, and I must say, it made me a little bit sick in my stomach. But I'm going to talk about two sides of this. Okay, I'm going to talk about her in a moment, but I want to talk about the series first and the messaging from the series. So, well, just to give you a preface, Belle was a big influencer slash writer slash entrepreneur who was in the wellness business in the mid 2000s, and she created an app, probably one of the first apps actually out there, called the Whole Pantry, and also a book with the same name. And she had a big following, and she was sharing online that she basically healed her body from cancer using lifestyle and nutrition. Now, this is completely possible, okay? In naturopathy, we think the body gets diseases such as cancer when it's out of balance, and if you look at the root cause, maybe you can fix it by changing your lifestyle, doing the right things, including nutrition, especially nutritionally, basically balancing out your immune system with the right nutrients, balancing out your pH. I mean, it's possible. But this girl said that she had brain tumors, which were cancerous, and at some point she even said that the cancer metastasized in other parts of the body, and that basically she was healing through nutrition. It's very rare that happens for a cancer such as brain cancer, but again, she, however, didn't have cancer. They found out that she was a massive liar. Now, it's despicable to create a business on a lie, honestly. Like, if you ever been sick, like me and other people, and I didn't have cancer, touch wood, so far, I know how feeling like horrible looks like. So lying about it to create your business, it's despicable, and it's quite honestly a little psychotic, you know. It's a bit of sociopathic behavior to do that. So I do not condone what she's done. But in a way, she did inspire people to eat well, right? So that's a good positive thing. It's just that she made money out of people by lying. On top of it, she promised charities to give donations, families that were needing her donations to give donations. She never did. And that it's another part. So the problem is that she was just a scam artist and someone that just lied and took advantage. I mean, this is what the series shows. Now, I don't know the details. I didn't know her before then. I looked it up. I looked at a couple of interviews of hers. This was after her fall from grace with that one big journalist on 60 Minutes Australia, and for which she apparently charged quite a lot to do. And so I don't know exactly if they were what exactly she was all about and what else she did, and if the things in the documentary, including the donations to a particular family that she never did give, were true. I don't actually know if that story particularly is true, but there were foundations she mentioned that she would support and she didn't. So fraud is fraud, right? So she did get convicted and fined, but again, it's there is a lot of damage that she did to the holistic space, and this is what I want to talk about. I am a naturopathic practitioner, right? I look at naturopathy as such a beautiful way to allow your body to heal by finding the root cause of a problem and really tackling from all directions holistically. But at the same time, I have really high respect for allopathic medicine, although some of it has been done out of balance. Like when you talk about chronic disease, unfortunately, the power and the profit of big pharma can interfere with doing the right thing. But equally, we've seen it in a naturopathic space. That's the case when it comes to supplements. A lot of companies make supplements without doing third-party testing, without testing from heavy metals and pollutants, and so they are actually not helping people, but because it is, they can do whatever they want, they get away with it. So it can really go both ways. You can get practitioners in naturopathy that maybe a little bit too extreme in one way or another. I mean, I think we need to marry naturopathy and allopathic medicine and really bring them together, because they both are medicine. I mean, before the 1900, the only medicine out there was, herbalism and naturopathy. Like, it wasn't, there were no drugs, really. But we can't deny that science has taken us really, really forward. I mean, we have diagnostics, which to me are paramount. If we didn't have access to diagnostics, it would be really, really hard to help people. We would basically be like, okay, I'm sick, I have all these symptoms, and then you would shoot in the dark. Now, sometimes that's still done even with diagnostics when it comes to hormonal health, which is why we're here all the time. But it's still, amazing to me that we have advanced so much. We can do so many things we're not able to do before. So poo-pooing all over it is really not fair. The other thing is, however, this documentary has hindered my industry, the industry of people that really take the time for years on to study and minimizes the importance of naturopathic approaches, because we then throw out the bath water with the baby in it, right? Because we thought, oh, this is bullshit, out. It's unfortunate because people become skeptical and angry, and then they just, won't make any changes because they think they can't do anything, they're powerless. So, and all I'm here to say is, whatever disease you're facing, there are two things that you can do. The first thing is that you take accountability for it. How did you get yourself there? And the second thing is change the things you do every day and see if it makes a difference and see how you feel. So testing on yourself by improving your lifestyle and nutrition is honestly danger-free. So you also get to understand your body, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and this is really important because ultimately you feel yourself much more than any diagnostical doctor can. But if we are diagnosed with a disease, then we have to make a hard choice. And just thinking that, okay, we can fix this naturally, that shouldn't be a deterrent for you to actually seek the expertise of a doctor, talk to them. Now, finding the right doctor is important. Just when you go to a psychologist or therapist, like, finding the right therapist is important because not everybody is going to be aligned with you, right? For me, when I work with a doctor, I prefer medical doctors that also look at holistic input. So, for example, integrative doctors that have done naturopathy and have done homeopathy to a certain extent. I mean, I don't fully love it, but certain things can work, I feel, like arnica. But sometimes, like having an integrated doctor that actually looks at nutrition and lifestyle working with you is really important. So I work with my colleagues, even for my private care, that are more holistically aligned and more integrative. Because I've experienced also the MDs that are just clueless, and especially when it comes to hormones. It's a battlefield out there, so I get it. But at the same time, we have to take responsibility. So I think this documentary is also hindering, however, our industry. But it is highlighting that we are not differentiating between people that, like me, study for years and are actually certified versus people that perhaps are just influencers online and just share beautiful things. Now, one thing is to, and I'm not pooing on influencers here because I think there are so many beautiful creatives that create amazing recipes that are nutritious, they are fun, they are delicious, and that is needed to inspire. Because if I am talking about a big bowl of salad, but you don't see how beautiful it can be and how tasty it can be and how varied it can be, honestly, you're not going to eat it, right? And I am not here making recipes because I'm here studying stuff that takes a lot of time, so I haven't been making recipes. So having a creator that actually does, kudos. That's, go there, watch how they make it yourself, feel great. So that's really important. And so we need everything. But we need everything with the caveat that we understand what we are looking at and what we follow. The other thing I wanted to talk about here, so watch the documentary and then share your thoughts, because I really want to feel, it made me sick in my stomach. It's not right what she did. But I looked at her and I looked at her expressions, and either she is a award-winning, worthy actress, because she truly portrays that I really thought that this was my reality, thing. Like she truly is a gifted scamist, and giving everybody a chance, because that's my nature. I feel that and having actually looked at a relationship with her mother and understand, like, hearing a story, I think she was someone that felt neglected. Apparently, her mom was sick. She had MS. And so I think as a child, she didn't feel nurtured, and she didn't have a dad in the house. Now, I don't know everything about her private life, but those are the only information that I gathered from the internet. But having experienced also a very unstable childhood, in the sense that I didn't have my mom and dad together, that my mom wasn't necessarily ready to be a mom, so there was a little bit of disconnect. I was like, I had my grandmother. She stepped in and was an amazing model, but not everybody has Nonna, right? My Italian grandmother, she was like on it. And I think that children naturally become narcissistic in nature when they're not nurtured for, because they start feeling that they need to count on themselves to survive. And in fact, when you look at her relationship with her partners in the documentary, which I believe reflect the relationships she had in real life, she has an avoidant attachment. She's not really connected to them. They are disposable, because ultimately she feels that nobody cares about her, that nobody sees her. And I think with somebody that has that narcissistic tendency, and she's in a victimhood narcissistic tendency, which is one of the hardest to change, because you start really feeding off the sorry for me, or sorry for you, energy of other people, which is why I never feel sorry for anybody. I'm just like, look, I'm here to hold space for you, but if I see that you don't take accountability for anything, you're on your own, because I'm not here to change anything for you, because I can't. So, and this is even my clients, if they don't work at it, they're out. I don't care if I'm losing money, because working with people that don't work doesn't work. So, but I think there was that, and I think she's psychologically very fragile. So she really probably believed what she was saying could be true. And I actually found myself connecting to some of the things. I never pretended to be sick and have cancer or any other diseases, actually. But when I was younger, I would make up story in my head about what my life was, and I did share, certain things that weren't true. I mean, my level of lying was like, my dad had the Ferrari. So because I didn't want to feel poor in comparison to my rich friends in high school and university. That was the extent that I was. But I started believing that was true. Not that he had a Ferrari per se, because I knew he didn't have it, but that it was wealthy, that my parents were okay to like just splurge money on me and for me to spend it the way I wanted. And my parents kind of helped that, because they always gave me everything I needed. So, they fed that kind of thinking. But I snapped out of it, because ultimately, it didn't feel aligned. It didn't feel right. Now, I wasn't affecting anybody else around me, because I was following people that were really living like that. So I was just like trying to keep up with the Joneses. But I truly, and I've always been blessed in life, even if whatever I did, like I was never, poor. I like really, even if I didn't, there were stages in my life where I didn't have much. I always had everything I needed. And I've been managing to be successful in my life, because when I changed everything about how I was living, including, how I was sharing in authenticity versus these made up realities, everything reflects that. Everything just energetically reflects that. That's beautiful. But she hasn't managed to get out of there, because her narcissistic victimhood is a very hard one to let go of. So she's hooked into the lies that she shares. And for her, the truth is that she will never live an authentic life if she doesn't get help. And even then, I don't know if she can, but because she can shift the lie from one lie to another, but I don't think she can actually live her life truly, because she's very damaged psychologically and traumatized from her reality, that for her to accept her reality would take a radical act of self-acknowledgement and love. And I think she doesn't love herself to actually do that. I think she actually truly hates herself, you know? And this is where my watching her interviews, the real Belle Gibson, and then the movie, I felt so much sorrow for her in that aspect, because I'm like, a person like this, because she's really intelligent if you think about it. Like she's dexterous in many things that starting a new website when nobody had a website, like an app when nobody had an app, like you can see she's smart. So having that talent go to waste, that's what makes me really, really sad, because it's like, oh my God, I just wish I had that tenacity. If she did it with integrity and authenticity, this woman could change the world. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening, because I really wanted to chat about this, and I'd love to know your thoughts. If you watch the series, or if you know about her from before when she actually had the app out there in the book launch and her story or whatever, please share it. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your experience. If anybody actually followed her, share some stuff. I really want to learn more. As I said, it's an interesting one. I think it does warrant for us to be questioning everything and everyone. And I always say, question me, fact check what I say. And if I get anything wrong, let me know, because I only can share what I know, right? And I'm always learning, and of course there are different opinions of things, and so there are things that I would not agree with, but I have proof that the opposite is true and supported by evidence, rather than just I'm convinced that I'm right. That's not the point. And I also always say I reserve the right to change my opinion on things when new evidence comes in and I'm learning things that are going to be much more accurate, because science evolves, right? So we have to be humble. So if you can, please share your thoughts and your experience, and I shall see you soon. Bye.